Giving all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, as well as the men that taught them, and peace and blessings unto the 144,000, as well as the rest of the elect. This is Brother Taza Pie here with your third woe update. And the President, Donald J. Trump, and Bibi Netanyahu just went live speaking about, all right, basically the U.S. going to war or offering their war services for Israel to deal with Hamas, all right? And Trump made the statement, which is why I'm doing this video, because he made the statement. He said, you know, there will be peace in the Middle East, and I'm paraphrasing, but if you have not seen the live, go and check it out, all right? Because it's telling you that they're about to fulfill prophecy, and we're going into this third woe, all right? And before that happens, this hour of temptation dealing with the MOTB is going to come to pass, all right? But Trump stated that, you know, that there will be peace in the Middle East. And he said, you know, they're going to do it. They're going to deal with Hamas and the whole Gaza situation. And he said that they're going to need a lot of help, all right? And so I'm going to let you hear a little bit, and I'm going to hit the scriptures just a little bit.
Sovereignty over the Golan Heights, and I cut taxpayer funding to the corrupt United Nations Relief and Works Agency. And United Nations was interesting because, as you know, a few days ago they introduced me, ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States. I'm looking at my teleprompter and the thing was dead, stone cold, dead. The thing's up here. I have a long, beautiful speech to make. I'm back 30 feet back, and I'm saying, they're introducing me. There's nothing on my teleprompter. So, but I made a speech. I actually got good marks. You think Biden could have done that? I don't think so. I don't think he could have done that. I don't think too many people could have done it. But actually, it was.
So he's rambling, but again, you can catch it on YouTube, all right? I just heard it and saw it, and I said, man, I'm going to speak on this real quick. And I want to start here, Revelation chapter 13, verse 4. It says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, all right? And Apostle Aramla just went into the beast with 10 heads, 7 heads and 10 horns. He broke it down thoroughly, all right? But that beast is NATO and the EU. And I went into a lesson last week on that, on how the Russians came out and said that NATO and the EU proclaimed war against them. And that's the beast, all right? So they proclaimed, well, as far as Russia is concerned, and they would be right, all right? The beast has made war with them, all right? But here we're going to talk about the woman that sitteth upon the beast, all right? So I want to start here. Revelation 13 and 4 says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast, all right? The dragon is ancient Rome and the Edomites, all right? Which ran that, you know, imperialistic Rome under the 12 feathers, the Caesars, all right? And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And today that's NATO and the EU. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? All right, that's the beast. Now, part of that beast, you go into Revelation, (17). A part of that beast, we're going to start here at Revelation 17 and 1. It says, and there came one of the 7 angels, which had the 7 vials, and talked with me, saying, unto me, come hither, and I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. That great whore is America, all right? And we're going to get into it. It says, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. That's right, because America's philosophies have went all throughout the world, all right, in the form of the fiat Federal Reserve note and the debt attached to it, all right. That's a philosophy of fractional reserve banking, which was brought to us by the devil, Esau, Edom, the Amalekites, the least of the flock specifically, all right, brought unto the world fractional reserve banking, which is what this U.S. Federal Reserve note is based upon, all right. So that's one wine. Then you have democracy, which is another wine. Then you have Catholicism, which is another wine, and all of these bear damning doctrines with them, each and every last one of them. All right, and these things have went all throughout the earth, as well as the darkness. Now those things are dark, but they're promoted as, oh, this is good, and you need this for your country. But then there's the underbelly, if you will, the dark side, which is the whole trafficking thing. Okay? And that's big with Esau worldwide. And, America has the power to cut that out, but they're part and parcel of the problem. All right. So it says in verse 2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication, right? Her philosophies, doctrines, her ideologies. As I just scratched the surface on a few of them. So verse 3 says, so he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, all right? It says, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns, all right? And so the 7 heads are the 7 major Edomite rulerships which sprung up, throughout, over the history of mankind, beginning with Greece. Then there was Rome. And then you had Germania Major, Germania Minor. Then it was, I'm trying to remember in succession, it would have been Spain, then France, then England. All right. Because the Renaissance was big in Spain because, Spain was the first of the Renaissance. The Edomites in Spain were some of the first to spring up. That was the first major, all right, rulership set, which the Edomites took over Jakes, Moorish, because the Moors had Spain. And so the Edomites rose to power, took them Jakes down, and took over Spain. So Spain would have came up first, then France, and then Britain or England, the UK. But anyway, that's your 7 heads, all right? And your 10 horns would be the EU today. If I can name them by memory, it would be Belgium, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Italy, Ireland, Greece, Germany, the UK. I don't know if I said Spain, but Denmark. And then if I miss one, Slovakia, but I think I hit them all. But anyway, that's, the European Union, though it has many other members, all right, you have to go to those same members that were once a part of the EEC, which is the European Economic Community, all right? And that's your 10 horns, all right? And so this woman sitting upon this beast is America. You know what I'm saying? And that's all I needed because, all right, Trump and Netanyahu is trying to get the world to believe that they really, is having fits with Hamas. All right. And I'm not going to take nothing from Hamas. All right? I'm not going to say what they can and can't do. All I will say is, how do you put together something sophisticated enough to challenge the whore that sitteth upon the beast right up under their noses? This is a beast because it's a beast of war. That's why I said, who is able to make war with the beast? It's a war beast. All right? NATO. This is a war beast. So how is it that they can't deal with Hamas? Or that Hamas could become such a problem right up under their noses? And it's because this is all theater of war. Rationally, it doesn't make sense that you could have these desert folk, and again, they have access to technologies and weaponry, but guess who they're getting it from? The beast. And this is why I'm saying this is theater of war, but it's theater. Rationally, it doesn't make sense. In the sense of theater, when you go into that theater, theo, it really goes back to theo. It goes back to the Most High. All right? I might do an Edamon on theater. But in this lesson, I want to just go into this prophecy because, right, Hamas is going to bring the world into the Middle East, looks like. Because Trump said there will be peace in the Middle East. And that, they will need help to do that. Lots of help. And so this fulfills prophecy. I just wanted to get that, to show that, if you really believe that they just can't deal with this issue, all right, first of all, the Mossad created Hamas, or at least funded them to make them, or to get them to where they are today, all right? Now, on top of that, all of the weaponry that they get, it comes from Esau. They're not making, just like they've been saying, oh, Iran is working on a bomb. And in all these years, they still working on that bomb. This is just a false narrative that's being put out. But why is it being put out? All right? As this is what they do. All right? He went out to deceive the world, Gog and Magog. Why? So we can get it on and cracking in this Middle East. All right? And it specifically said Gog and Magog. And Gog and Magog are the feet like a bear. And that's going to be the end of this thing, all right, for Esau and his deception. And I wanted to go here just to show you this, all right. Joel chapter 3, verse 9. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. All right, so what is it saying here? Beat your plowshares and the swords. And that's the mindset of the nations right now. It's just saying prepare for war. The instruments that was once used for agriculture and producing, they don't have time for that no more. All right. And it didn't even go into the budget. All right. Agricultural budgets, especially here in Babylon, are being cut. But the defense budget is shooting through the roof. And America already has a defense budget more than all the rest of the G7 combined. Already. All right. So that's them beating their plowshares in the swords. It says, and your pruning hooks, another instrument of agriculture for produce and production so that people can eat. All right. And this is why the Lord said, Isaiah 65, that his servants would eat. All right. Because, right, this in war destroys land. And that's one of the things you do. If you can, you destroy the crops of your enemies. You don't let them eat. You know? You talking about real war. You go to vanquish your enemy. That's what we supposed to did in Canaan. All right? But we because it was going to be our land, we didn't have to destroy it, but you vanquish your enemies. You don't play with them. You don't take POWs. You get rid of them. All right? So I'm saying that to say this is what these countries are looking to do. They're looking to change the landscape. All right? Rewrite the history. Remove the ancient landmarks even more than what they have. All right? They're looking to change demographics. All right? They're trying to do or attempting another reset. All right? But this time, this reset will be done by Yahushua, the only begotten of the Most High Yahweh himself. All right? And all things will be set right. But right now, there is an atmosphere of war. All through, there's nowhere that war is not being whispered or openly discussed. No, unless you're in a remote, village. You ain't seen nobody in decades, something like that. But right, beat your plowshares and the swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. This is what everybody, they sick of it. They say, man, I'm sick of it. I'm sick of Babylon. But they say, America, I'm tired of the U.S., especially in the Middle East, all right? And these are some of the weak. Look, Hamas, they should not be strong. These people should not be strong, yet they are strong. Or at least they're saying, I am strong. All right, for the purpose of the narrative playing out. The theater. All right? You got all kind of countries raising up. All right? And it said, verse 11, assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about thither. Cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. All right? And that's what's going to ultimately happen. All right? Well, it said, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Yahushua. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about. Now, the valley of Yahushua is in the Middle East. All right? The area of Afghanistan, even going to, from Gaza. Now, if you look at the ancient maps, the valley of Jehoshaphat is right there in the land. But that's going to be extended for this third woe, and it's going to be all throughout the Middle East. All right, that valley where this third woe will take place. All right, so let the heathen be wakened. They're waking up. They're saying, I am strong. And come up to the valley of Yahushua. Now, Trump and Netanyahu is going to force this, and that'll be the fulfillment of Jeremiah 49 and 20. Because they're going to go down in there, and then, because somehow Iran is going to be brought into it, and then that's going to bring in the bear. All right? So we just have to, I'm looking to see what's the angle, how they going to get at Iran, because that's been Netanyahu's goal for the last 20 years. All right. But when that happens, which is a fulfillment of Ezekiel the 38th chapter, when they go to mess with Iran, Russia is going to come in. All right. All this is at play right now. And the Lord said, let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat. For there will I sit to judge all the heathen round about, right, with war. That's why it's called the valley of Jehoshaphat. All right. You read it as Jehoshaphat, but in the Paleo Hebrew, that's Jehoshaphat. Yahweh, as I just mentioned, is the name of the Heavenly Father, the Most High. That is his name. Yah, he, Hawa, to be. All right. And then Shaphat means judgment or decision. And this is what this is, the valley of the Most High's decision or his judgment. And what he's going to do is bring death and destruction to all of the militaries of the world, because they will be in that valley of Jehoshaphat. And then our Lord Yahushua is going to walk through them. He's going to walk through them. All right? This is what it say, verse 14, multitudes in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. Right, Yahushua. So multitudes, all right, armies, platoons upon platoons in the valley of decision. For the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. All right. And that was the point. All right. And this is the Lord's commandment to us, his command to us. Zephaniah 3:8. Therefore wait ye upon me, said the Lord, until the day that I rise up to the prey. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger. For all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. You get that? The Lord told us, wait ye upon me, said the Lord. All right, until the day that he rise up to the prey in the valley of Jehoshaphat. How I know? It says, for my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. All right. And so let's see if he say anything else. I think that's it. Yeah. Okay. Let's let him say a little bit.
Thank you very much, everybody. So this is a big day, a beautiful day, potentially one of the great days ever in civilization. Things that have been going on for hundreds of years and thousands of years. We're at a minimum very, very close, and I think we're beyond very close. And I want to thank Bibi for really getting in there and doing a job. We've worked well together, as we have with many other countries, both of us, with many other countries, which is the only way this whole situation gets solved. And I'm not just talking about Gaza. Gaza is one thing, but we're talking about much beyond Gaza. The whole deal, everything getting solved. It's called peace in the Middle East. So today is a historic day for peace, and Prime Minister Netanyahu and I have just concluded an important meeting on many vital issues, including Iran, trade, the expansion of the Abraham Accords.
See there? Including Iran. All right? Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 20. Therefore hear the counsel of Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, that he had taken against Edom. Edom are the so-called white people today. All right, but all Edom are not, or have that pale translucent skin, or so-called white people. All right. For instance, Tracy Ellis Ross is an Edomite. Tia and Tamara, sister, are Edomites. All right. And you might say, "Oh, that's a Hayela sister." No, that's an Edomite. So not all Edom, because your nationality is determined by your father's lineage, bloodline. So your nationality is determined by seed. You get seed from man, not woman. All right. So, therefore, hear the counsel of the Lord that he had taken against Edom, and his purposes that he had purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Teman is another tribe out of Edom, the Germans. It says, surely the least of the flock, and that's the tribe of Amalek of Edom. Amalek is who Bibi Netanyahu represents. They are not who they say they are. They are Amalekites, all right, the least of the flock. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them, all right, right, because he's going to bring everybody to war. And that's going to be it for them. Listen to it.
And most importantly, we discussed how to end the war in Gaza, but it's just a part of the bigger picture, which is peace in the Middle East. And let's call it eternal peace in the Middle East. So this is far more than anybody expected, but the level of support that I've had from the nations in the Middle East and surrounding Israel and neighbors of Israel has been incredible.
And just some symbology, all right? Now, these are all small hats. Trump excluded, but, you know, a lot of his cabinet and the people in his, and of course Netanyahu, these are small hats. Now, I'm saying that because, all right, they are Hebrews, all right, and they speak the Yiddish, but in the Hebrew, you go from right to left, all right? So if you look at how the flags are arranged from right to left, what do you have? Israel first, and then the U.S., all right? Now, it shouldn't be no other flag waving inside of America, period, especially, you know, wherever they are. I'm not sure where they are, but where the president is giving a speech, wherever he is, should never be another country of a flag of another country, all right, erected. But not only is it erected, but from right to left, Israel is first. You know?
Incredible. Every single one of them. This afternoon, after extensive consultation with our friends and partners throughout the region, I'm formally releasing our principles for peace, which people have really liked, I must say. And these are done not just routinely done, these are done with total consideration and working with the nations that we're talking about. All these nations have made contributions to those suggestions. I want to thank the leaders of many Arab and Muslim nations for their tremendous support in developing the proposal, along with many of our allies in Europe. Europe has been very much involved, and as I was called by many of the European leaders, most of them saying, is this true?
The EU, the 10 horns. All right. And again, all right, the scriptures say, who is able to make war with the beast? America is the whore that rideth the beast. So, you know, it's just the same thing. As if you know she commands that beast that's the last one you would mess with. So it just to mention, oh, America coming in this, oh, hey, shit, hey. And when it was Israel, it was fun, but hey, that's enough. Right? If it was real. But no, because it's theater. You know? No, you wouldn't want to mess with the woman on the beast. If you ain't going to mess with the beast, you damn sure not going to want to mess with the woman on the beast. Little old Hamas, America's supposed to have been established. When Hamas, you start hearing about Hamas. These people ain't even 10 years deep. And they challenging America? Even the 1948ers. You know, y'all supposed to have been established. Y'all need help with Hamas? And man, this is a joke, but I mean, how they saying it. The narrative that they're putting out, I understand what it is. Okay? Yeah, that's enough.
Are you really doing peace in the Middle East? This is the most incredible thing we've heard. Some think it's the biggest thing they've ever heard. They called just to find out, was it just a rumor or is it actually done? And then they said, have you spoken to the Arab leaders? Have you spoken to all of the other leaders that we have to get? A lot of people involved in this one. I also want to thank Brian.
We got to get a lot of people involved in this one. Right. They fixing to think that they're going to go in and take it completely over. This is what they're thinking, but it's just an update. So, you know, to the next one. Shalom.